So next Tuesday on October 30th at 10 a.m. in NYC, Apple will go back to the Mac. We're expecting details on at least 3 new Macs, including the replacement for this right here, the MacBook Air, which is Apple's low-cost entry-level machine. Details as to what this machine will look like is anyone's guess at this moment, but we can speculate on what we think it'll look like. I think that it will look similar to the 12-inch MacBook, which means it would finally get rid of those huge bezels that currently plague the MacBook Air, and it would also be a Retina display for the first time. Now, it is an entry-level model, so keep that in mind, so it may not be as thin as the current generation 12-inch MacBook, but we'll have to wait and see. Another thing that I'd say is quite likely is the inclusion of USB Type-C ports, something that we didn't find on the MacBook Air. Not just that though, having multiple USB Type-C ports, something that you don't find on the 12-inch MacBook. And maybe, just maybe, one or more of those USB-C ports will be Thunderbolt 3 enabled, allowing users to connect to external GPUs, which would allow us to remain thin and light while on the go, but then have the opportunity to take advantage of much more graphics processing power on demand. And then also remember that the MacBook Air that Apple currently sells is 13 inches, so hopefully that remains true for whatever replaces it. The current generation 12-inch MacBook is obviously 12 inches. Hopefully the new low-cost machine is 13 inches and remains at that $999 entry-level price that the MacBook Air currently enjoys. So we'll see what happens, but I am pretty optimistic and excited about whatever is going to replace the MacBook Air. Now let's talk about Mac desktops, starting with the iMac. I think the expectation for the iMac is that it will receive a processor spec upgrade. Outside of that though, not much else is known. Maybe it will get Apple's T2 chip, which improves security and wears a whole bunch of other hats. But frankly, we still don't know. But here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the bezels be significantly reduced. Even the iMac Pro with the $5,000 starting price looks outdated thanks to those huge bezels. If Apple could reduce the bezels on the iMac, it would go a long way towards improving the look of Apple's flagship desktop. And then finally, there's the Mac Mini. This is the first modern Mac that I ever owned. I love this thing, but sadly it's been all but abandoned by Apple. This thing hasn't been updated in almost 1,500 days, but it's starting to seem like the Mac Mini drought is about to come to an end, a very long-awaited end. Now, details are still scarce. We really don't know what this machine is going to look like, if it's going to look like the outgoing version. I know there's been rumblings that this will be a more pro-oriented machine. I think what we can expect is the obvious spec upgrade for the processor, maybe even Apple's T2 chip, and of course USB Type-C with Thunderbolt 3, allowing for external GPU connectivity. I like to believe that you at least have 2 or more Thunderbolt 3 ports on the Mac Mini. Now switching gears a bit, this one kind of came out of nowhere, but well-regarded analyst Ming-Chi Kuo says that we should expect a new iPad mini. Now this may not be revealed when the new iPad Pro, which is depicted here, is revealed on October 30th. But Kuo sounds sure that the iPad mini 5 is in the cards. With this being a budget device, we're thinking it's going to keep the same design and form factor, gain Apple Pencil support, get a processor bump, and maybe even have some things like True Tone. And of course, it would still have Touch ID. So get yourself ready for October 30th because that's when new Macs and new iPad hardware will be revealed. It's going to be exciting. What do you guys think? What are you looking forward to the most? Let me know down below in the comments. This is Jeff with the 9 to 5 Mac.